Hello, everybody. It is Josh again, and we are playing Password again. Hopefully, anyway. And today's character is Sal, apparently, for the main menu. That's cool. Don't kind of like that he's holding an axe, though. Makes me think he's gonna be in trouble. Though I assume every character is gonna be in trouble at some point. But you know, might as well just get right back into it. Oh, NVIDIA. I should probably turn that off, but I don't know how. This moment, like I could probably just look it up or go into the settings, but I'm lazy. Despite going to bed relatively calm after talking to Dean. So am I on Dean's route or not? Because, like, I almost think that event, like with Dean coming to your room, that feels like you only got this because you hung out with Dean at, like, dinner and shit. And you're doing and, like, I did all the Dean stuff first. For reasons, you know? But whatever. I didn't sleep well. I was up early, my body telling me that I'd had enough rest. Not that I felt rested. My head was still spinning. I let my eyes wander the bedroom I'd claimed as my own. But it lacked the familiar comforts of home. The home was giving me an odd feeling. Was it the vault? Oh, the house, yeah. Was giving me an odd feeling. Was it the lack of staff? Was it something else? Okay. Even then, what was hidden behind that door? Was it something important to Roswell, though? Was it something important, like Roswell thought? My thoughts raced through my mind as I could hear other things going on in the house. Or at least I assumed that's what I was hearing. Rolling over, I wonder if it was worth taking Dean up on his offer, and I grabbed my phone. It was early, and wondered if my paranoia was worth bothering one of the others. I'd already started flicking through my contacts, having made up my mind. All that was left was to decide who to message. But yeah. I opened my message history with Dean and sent him a message. After all, he'd already extended me the offer, and it was saving me explaining the situation to any of the others. Minutes ticked by before I got a response, and after I sent him a message saying I was on my way, I got dressed and headed over to his room. I knocked on his door, flinching when it instead opened to Dean standing there just on the other side. Good morning, come in? He stepped back and let me in. I could feel his eyes watching me as I walked past and began to pace the length of the room. Dean, thanks, really. I took the moment to look him over properly, noticing he was only in his underwear, and I suddenly felt overdressed. Don't mention it, but you sure you're okay? I shook my head slowly. This place is just getting to me for some reason. I just can't shake it. Has it been affecting your sleep? If it has, it could just be because it's a new bed. Maybe. It hasn't been entirely restful, but sure. We've only been here a couple nights. It's probably nothing. I flashed Dean a quick smile, but it was still bothering me. It wasn't just the bed. It was something else. A gut feeling that was making me think something was very wrong. Let me say this feeling you're having is because of, I don't know, let's say a ghost. A ghost? I blinked, shooting Dean a confused look. I don't know. Just go with it, okay? Okay, let's say it's a ghost. How does that help? I bet the worst it could really do is just make some creepy noises. Maybe rattle a few things, but that's it. I mustn't have looked convinced when Dean's tone shifted. My point is that that you can't do much about a ghost. Roswell might be the closest thing we have to a Ghostbuster out of the lot of us, but even he can't really do something about it. Really? Really? Whatever it is that got you feeling out of sorts with the place, chances are there isn't much you can do about it. If it was something truly dangerous, it'd stick out. We'd all know about it, and we'd all be looking out for one another. I wasn't ready for it, but Dean came in close and hugged me tight, picking me off the floor and making me squeak. After a brief cuddle, he sat me back down onto the floor and stepped back so I had some space. Better? Better, but I did have one last question. Sure, what is it? Where are your pants? What? We both looked down at his lack of clothes before making eye contact again. Well, I sent you a message back. I was kind of in the middle of something. I didn't finish the thought before it dawned on me that vaguely familiar musky smell coupled with Dean being a big bear plus him having just woken up. Oh. I mean, I didn't mean for... I mean, if you wanted to... I assumed you would have... No, it's my fault. I should have checked my phone. Dean groaned, rubbing his face and grumbling. Trust my luck for it to pan out like this. Didn't even get to freshen up beforehand. And then I hugged you and just... Dean, really, it's fine. He looked me over, hands on his hips before sighing out. This is just how it's going to be between us, isn't it? Poor timing and all. I went to say something, but Dean continued. Bah, I should go have a shower. You can hang out here if you really want, but, He didn't even wait for my reply, instead shifting off to the bathroom and closing the door to the bathroom behind him. Dean came on strong, but he had standards. If we ever got to the point in our friendship, I had faith that he'd treat me right, and that it wouldn't be some quick rut. I could hear the water running and figured that Dean was more than busy enough to entertain me further. I felt a little bad, but I was also thankful he put me at ease. Leaving his room, I went back to mine, figuring I should give Dean his space and privacy. It also gave me a chance to rest before breakfast was called. Much like the first night, I was the last one to arrive. How are you the last one to arrive? Wouldn't Dean be the last one? Like if you went... Oh, okay. Okay. So you like went back to your room for funsies, I guess. Okay, Dave. And once again, I had free call as who to sit next to. My choices are getting smaller. But, you know, I feel like I'm just locking myself in, and that's just okay. I want to do Dean's route first, because I'm a degenerate. But that's alright. I don't know who I'm going to do second, though. Because I've heard that, like, certain passwords you get in, like, other routes. So, like, you're heavily incentivized to, like, do all of them. After talking to Dean this morning, I could see him look away in embarrassment as I got closer. Morning. Get cleaned up already? Yeah, felt better after that shower, although had to be a cold one. Cold showers? Why would you even do that? You know why. Still, it's my fault, but oh well. Don't worry about it, Dean. It's fine. Dean was drumming his fingers through the mug of his coffee in front of him, seemingly not sold. Hey, any coffee left? Oh, yeah, I brewed a fresh pot earlier. Figured it could be just for us, depending on how you were feeling. Just for us? The others had another pot, so it's not like we're hoarding it all to ourselves. Here, let me pour you a cup. Take it the same way? Yeah, white with 1 sugar. Oh, good. Dean assembled my coffee with practiced movement before sliding it over. Just sipping it felt invigorating. I was either officially old to be enjoying the taste this much, or that far gone that I needed it to be functional. So what are your plans for today? Haven't really thought about it. Well, how about we spend the day together? Just look around at stuff and see if we can find anything interesting. Just wandering the mansion? Well, yeah. Promise there's no ulterior motive, just figured it'd be better than doing it by myself. Well, alright, I can tag along. Got bored of the greenhouse already? Nah, but I figured I'd be better to check out the mansion sooner or later. Eat your fill, and when you're done, we'll head out. You've done eating already? Ha! Not even a little. Almost as if the challenge was posted, Dean started grabbing food left and right to load up his plate. Muffins, toast, fruit. It wasn't the full continental breakfast you'd get at a swanky hotel, but it was close. I followed suit, loading up and tucking in, looking about the table. Everyone else seemed to be in the same frame of mind, eating merrily, occasionally grabbing more food from the plates in front of them. When we'd eaten our fill, Dean pushed away from the table, sighing contently. Alright, I'm done. I forgot how much you could eat. You call me fat? Yeah. Besides, I was keeping track of what you were eating too. You're one to talk. Hey, I was hungry. Well, come on. We've got a mansion to explore. Alright. Where to first? What, you want me to pick? Nah, I'll lead on. I figured you'd had enough of a shot wandering around, yeah? Hey, you don't know that. Well, what's the alternative? Just waiting around until the next meal? Well, wouldn't you like to know? Come on, I heard the pool was worth checking out from Saul. We'll start there. Dean led the way towards the back. Without stopping, he started heading towards the pool, away from anywhere the greenhouse was set. Away from the greenhouse's setup. This is the pool, huh? Yep, this is the pool, all right. Hey, I could hear your sarcasm and loud and clear, you know. Sorry. Still, this place is huge, much bigger than what I'd assume about being needed for just a single family, right? You got that right, but the mansion as a whole is just screams of being too big, right? With the amount of bedrooms there is, no kidding. Maybe it was a hotel at some point. Dean got closer to the edge of the pool and suddenly jumped back, yelling in the wake of a large splash. Dude! In the next moment, Sal climbed up out of the water. What? What do you mean, what? Almost drenched me. You were close to the edge. I thought you were coming to swim. Do I look like I'm dressed for swimming? Well, I'm sure if given the choice, Dean would be moist all the time. Oh, Dave. Don't call this man out like that. It wasn't enough to seemingly lift the Dean's spirits, but I caught the faintest smirk before he went back to sulking. Have you come to swim? Nah, Dean's just checking out the mansion. Apparently he's been holding up in the greenhouse this whole time. Oh. Well, the water is nice. Is it heated? In parts. Sal pointed to one area of the pool where that appears to be a jacuzzi hanging off to the side. A jacuzzi? Here? Well, yeah, old people like that shit. I mean, I always only see old people and like those kind of things, but that's just me, I guess. Okay. Sal and I followed Dean over to the hot tub, where he quickly got on all fours to test the temperature. Only lukewarm? That's disappointing. There are controls over there against the wall. Sal pointed to the panel with only a few buttons on an LED screen. LCD, whatever. Go on, Dave, try turning it on. It seems easy enough, given how few buttons there were. The two triangle ones I assume controlled the temperature, the black one next to them, though. Here we go. I pressed the button, and almost immediately the sound of pump wired from somewhere nearby. The next moment, bubbles started roiling out within the jacuzzi. It works! What's the temperature set to, anyway? The panel that was once black now reads medium. It says medium. Doesn't really tell me how much more than that. Dean splashes around in the water a little bit before standing up and wiping his hands on his shirt. It's warm. It's warming up still. Wonder how hot this goes. Might have to try it at some point. This seems fine for me. I don't think I'd want hotter. I tested the water myself. Last bath I took was much hotter than this. Most showers I take are hotter too. Nothing beats a hot shower. Helps get in deep under the fur and to get all the crud out when you need to. How often does that happen anyway? Muffin crumbs, I guess, or barbecue sauce. Hey, that's not entirely... Given how much I've seen Dean put away, no surprise that he'd get food in his fur. What is this? Pick on Dean Day? Yes. I was joking. I was too. Sal's snort following sets me off, and despite the daggers Dean was staring at me, I began to giggle. Hey! Sorry. In the same breath, Sal dove back into the pool, leaving Dean and I back by ourselves. Well, whatever. I can see that there's showers here too. Just as well. Chlorine does weird things to your fur. Best to just wash it off as soon as you can. Anyway, let's check out the inside. Apparently there are things to do there too. Come on. Dean led the way out, closing the gate behind us. You know, now that I know that there's a hot tub, I might have to come out late at night just to relax, of course. But you know, would be better with some company. I just followed Dean around up the stairs until he wandered into the conservatory. What room is this supposed to be? A reading room? It's a conservatory. I guess you can call it a reading room. There was a bookcase against one of the walls, and there were books on it, but almost seemed like ledgers as opposed to novels. Reminds me of the greenhouse, except, well, for people. Kinda. I mean, it has a lot of natural light, windows and all. Dean wandered over to the windows and looked down at the yard, then visibly scanned the tree line of the surrounding forest. Looks like there's no neighbors, as far as I can tell, just as well. Yeah? Yeah, like, who's to say who's to say you aren't here late at night with the lights on? Someone could just look in, right? Haas said the same thing. Well, mentioned that you'd need a telescope or something to look in. Although, look down there. Dean points out a spot on the floor to the start of the forest, breaks in the trees. You could probably see it just fine from down there, assuming you were sitting close enough to the window. You reckon? Well, if you were just desperate, you could always climb up the tree anyway. Why would you be so desperate to see into this room? Who knows? I mean, maybe if there was a secret meeting that was taking place and they locked the door. Or maybe a murder was taking place. Or maybe just a pervert wanting to watch two people have some very intimate time together. Do you know anyone that perverted? Do we know two people that hook up in a room like this? We both laugh it off, but the thought of had occurred to me. There wasn't anyone stopping Dean and I from just letting off some steam right now. Or at the very least, not right now. At some point. Just thinking about it makes me shift uncomfortably, and it seemed as though Dean had been thinking similar things. So, yeah? Should we, what, right now? Here? What? No, I mean, continue looking. Oh, yeah, right. Okay, onwards. So we continue down the hall. Oh, hello, Dave. We ran into Roswell as we entered the game room. He was seemingly on his way out. Oh, is Dean with you? Yep, just checking out the mansion. Yeah. What about you? What about you, though, Roswell? Me? Oh, just checking things out as well. Did you know that this room has a bunch of stuff in it, too? Well, looks like a casino to me. You're talking about slot machines and stuff. Yes, and no. Come on, I'll show you. Yeah. Roswell led the way to the room, wandering over to one of the cabinets against the wall. Dean, meanwhile, was cooing at the decor and any little thing that made the place look part of a casino. Ah, here it is. Check this out. There was a soft wire, okay, as a panel on the wall as it slid to the side. Various board games lined up the wall like you'd find in a game store. Wow, there's so many of them. Oh man, I haven't played any of this for years. I know. Most of them can cater for all of us too. So, if we ever wanted to play a big game, wouldn't that take a while? Well, unless you played something like Monopoly without playing the actual rules, then yeah. But most of these should only take about an hour or two of play. There's more, just a sec. Roswell was standing by a cabinet and fiddled with something else on the inside and caught a glimpse of a control panel. Sure enough, another panel on the wall opened, revealing a large screen, along with an array of game consoles shelved underneath. We have video games too! So if we didn't want to all play the same game, we could split into 2 groups or something. Oh yeah, Orlando was saying something about there being video games here, although he thought it was a projection or something. That's easy to explain. The control panel has a label for a projector too, plus a small diagram of where everything is. He probably just assumed they ran together. Really though, it's more for playing movies and stuff, I think. Don't know why you wouldn't just run it off the game consoles though. Dean was impressed, eyes wide and giddy. Awesome. Here I thought I'd just be gardening every day. What games do they have anyway? Honestly, I don't know. I haven't been able to find any, but maybe they're preloaded. Well, that's kind of disappointing. Hey, why don't we check out what's on there? Oh yeah, let's do that. Turn it on, Roswell. Sure thing. Roswell flicks some switches and the panels on the consoles all boot up. Dean, meanwhile, grabs a controller and starts navigating through menus to see what was loaded on there. Anything good? Dean froze, putting the controller down. This is insane! Dave, do you see that list? That's thousands of games. But that's impossible, right? I thought games were huge. Good point. Maybe it's too good to be true. Well, maybe they're definitely loaded. This is a custom setup after all. Maybe they tricked out the consoles too. Who's they? The people who live here? Dunno. But we get to use them all the same. Dean and Roswell talked a bit about games, going through the list far too quick for me to keep the pace before we left the room. Dean apparently needed to get something from his bedroom, so we headed there first. Won't be too long. Make yourself comfortable. I watched as Dean went into his ensuite and closed the door behind him. I could hear him humming on the other side of the door, doing who knows what. Guess I'll just chill here then. The bedrooms didn't have much in the way of chairs, so I just sat on the bed. It was much the same as the one in my room. Guess they bought them in bulk. The only difference was that Dean had left his largely unmade. Like myself. Looks like you drool in your sleep too, Dean. Among the other loose bits of fur in the pillow was a damp patch. At least I assumed it was drool. What are you doing? Ah, Dean! Caught you red-handed doing something. No, I was just, your pillow. My pillow? Yeah, you drool in your sleep, dude. Oh, yeah, I guess I do. Wasn't really expecting having a guest over. Guess I better make sure it's all tidy for the next time you're here. Oh yeah? Who's gonna say there's a next time? Well, you never know. I could get lucky. Get lucky, huh? Well, yeah, but you might also just come back in on me at some point. Who knows? But we've got the rest of the house to explore. Plus lunch. Come on, I could eat. Dean and I headed for the dining room to see if it was time for lunch. But when we got there... Oh. Really, anyone could have heard the yelling as they approached, but entering made it all worse. It seemed as though everyone heard it, as everyone else filed close behind. Who you calling a dog, pig? That's... Roswell and Tyson were on opposite sides of the table. Tyson snarling and hunched over one of the chairs, looking like he'd jump over it. What's going on? That porker called me a dog. I didn't, I swear. Roswell made a break for it, hiding behind Sal. Tyson was right behind him, trying stop shy of Sal and snarled up at the massive crocodile in the way. What happened? Sal looked back at Roswell, opting to address him rather than the wolf in front of him, making Ty back off in a huff. No one's hurt, right? You didn't, Ty looked like he was about to explode, eyes bulging and the corners of his mouth turning downwards. By comparison, Roswell was meek, clinging to the back of Sal's shirt, using him as a physical barrier. I needed answers, and I didn't like the idea of the two of them fighting. Maybe it was just a simple misunderstanding. I looked between Roswell and Tyson, clearing my throat. Who should I ask? I mean, I like Tyson more than I like Roswell. So. Tyson, what happened? I asked Ty. Asking Ty must have calmed him a bit. So rather than seem full-blown rabid, he was now only mildly frustrated. Well, he shot Roswell a dirty look before looking back at me, hands still balled up in a fist. Called me a dog to my face. Lupus, I'm a wolf. Is that? Yeah. I'm a wolf, damn it. I don't go play fetch. No sooner than Tyson had spoken up, Roswell stepped up from behind Sal, stomping his feet. I told you, it's, Canis Lupus. Lupus, you're still a canine. See, he's doing it again. Ty pointed at Roswell, shooting him a desperate look. I wonder if this is what it is. I wonder if this is what it was like to have children. I wasn't like this as a kid, was I? One moment. I hope everyone likes the drinking water ASMR, right? That's a thing that people like, I assume. This is what you're fighting about, really? Yeah, guys, there's plenty of other reasons you could be fighting, and you choose that? Really? Tyson's just making trouble again, it seems. Ty did a double take, looking between Sal, Haas, and then finally to me. I wasn't sure what he wanted me to do, and maybe I realized a little too late that he wanted some backup before he bailed, disappearing down the hall. I seemed to be the only one watching where Tyson went, everyone else checking in on Roswell. He was the smallest of the group and the youngest, so maybe there was some obligation to make sure he was okay first. Or maybe it was just that they disliked Tyson that much that they didn't care about how he was feeling. There was a chance Ty would be fine given his space, but yeah, I'll go after him. I stole another look at the rest of the group before shaking my head. Even if everyone else thought he was overreacting, he was still upset, and he was my friend. The others can take care of Roswell, so he was in good hands. Tyson, however, the only reason I knew where he was because I spotted his tail disappearing down the stairs towards the basement. Ty? It was dark, but I noticed him with his arms tight around his chest, leaning back on one of the walls. He wasn't looking at me, but with his ears twitching, I could tell he knew I was there. You alright? Do I sound alright to you? He spat the words out, making me flinch. I took a step back, and he seemed to realize what he had did a moment later. Look, I'm sorry. It's not your fault. It means a lot. It means a lot you followed me, though. But Ty, was that really the way you wanted to react to, you know? Really? How did that even come up anyway? We were talking about you, actually. About me? Yeah, doesn't matter about what. He just made a comment about my tail when you were mentioned. Your tail? Yes, my tail. I can't stop it from wagging sometimes. Anyway, took a dig at me and called me a happy puppy. Then started claiming that Canis or whatever thing. I don't want to take sides, but... And then you make an excuse for your actual friends, figures. No, just I want to get along with everyone. I know it's hard, but... Ty sighed, rolling his eyes before looking me over. He said nothing at first, but when he did, his tone was level and calm. Okay, fine, I'll do it first for you. But I'm not going to stand for any of that dog nonsense, you hear me? I'll tell Roswell to be more careful in how he jokes around, promise. So, come for lunch, please? Nah, not hungry anymore. Gonna go work out for a bit, then maybe have a nap. He rustled the top of my head, the fur on top of my head, shooting me a smile. I'll be fine, pup. I'll see you at dinner. I watched as he headed into the gym and out of sight. Part of me wondered if I should keep him company or head back upstairs. But he said he was fine, and he was actually right. It wasn't the first time he'd gotten upset, and we'd had this talk, and it probably wasn't going to be that late. Probably the last. Comfortable that Ty would be okay eventually, I headed back up the stairs for lunch. With the argument behind us for the time being, we got settled at one end of the table while Orlando ducked into the kitchen to prepare lunch. Orlando brought out a big tray with what seemed to be any sort of sandwiches you could imagine that were only small pieces, almost like finger food. You made all of these, Orlando? Looks good. feel bad that you went through all the trouble given what we had. All the trouble given we have a butler. I really don't mind. Friends just make each other sandwiches, right? I thought that was the wife's job. Almost immediately, Sal whacked Dean across the back of his head, shooting him a fierce look before going to pick the lettuce out of his sandwich. How's everyone going so far? How's everyone been going so far? Yeah. Anyway. We went around the table sharing what we'd found, but most of it was pretty tame, just minor discoveries each of us made about the places. Well, I did end up speaking to Benson about that activity. I think you'll like it, and with how all over the place we've been, just as well too. All right. What have you got in mind? Ready? A scavenger hunt. A scavenger hunt? Yeah, it's a great idea. But why a scavenger hunt? More importantly, what are we finding? Well, that's what Benson came in and helped. Well, that's where we're at. Turns out that there were a set of medallions that once belonged to the people that lived here. Apparently, they all got hidden around the places by one of the kids as a prank. Wait, so we're just looking around for stuff that no one else could find? Well, yes, but Benson also told me to pass on that there's a reward. Well, all right. I think I could find a medal or two. Forget about that. I want to know about the reward first. Wouldn't that be better as a surprise? Can't expect us to go wandering around to get an expired coupon as a prize, or like just the second DVD in the D-grade anime. The reward is access to the vault downstairs. There was a silence and a few confused expressions thrown about the table. Anything of worth we find inside is ours to keep in exchange for the medals. Apparently, they have intense sentimental value to Benson. Sentimental value, sure, but to give us whatever's inside the vault, is that good? We looked at one another again before considering what could be inside the vault. Money? Treasure? My mind wandered to what I hoped was beyond that door. Money would be nice, but there was always that saying that about it not buying happiness. Treasure would be neat, but wouldn't that just be a different kind of money? Hold on a minute. What's wrong, Orlando? What if he just wants us to find these medals for sort of a ghost ritual thing? Should we help him? Really? Oh, Orlando. I don't think the medals were for that. Oh, yeah? What? Then, what were they? Then what were those medals for? The Zodiac, actually. So, see, that's totally in the realm of a ritual possibility. Think of all of the games you play where you have to collect the things, and then it turns out that the player was a fool for assembling everything for the villain. Sal reaches over to Orlando's face and held his mouth shut. He seemed to be gentle, but he sighed and looked back to Roswell. What do they look like? Well, about that, Benson just said that they had colored ribbon and that they were made of metal. They'd have the signs of the Zodiac engraved on them too. That's something to go off of, but what color ribbon? What type of metal? Roswell shrugged, shaking his head. That's all the information Benson was willing to give me. This has creepy ritual written all over it. Maybe, but what if it isn't? I've been to your house. You have some strange collections. Okay. Maybe. Let's not get into what sort of things I hoard, Sal. Okay, let's find those medals. Well, that was quick. That was a quick turnaround. Let's take it, though. Did you say horoscopes? if we're talking star alignments, that's like 12 in total, right? Cancer, Aquarius, Leo, obviously. Oh, okay, sure, Haas. Aries, Pisces, Taurus, Capricorn, Sagittarius, Scorpio, Libra, Virgo, and Gemini. You just know all of them off the top of your head? Because I certainly don't. Fuck that. Well, it helped that I checked mine on the bus. Normally do, and I pick up a magazine for the drive here. I suppose that makes sense, but still, is that a normal thing to do? I know Sal likes checking his. I check mine from time to time, but I don't put much stock in it. They're a bit too vague. I look around to Sal, who seems to be nodding slightly in Dean's direction. Very true. Can't say that they have a lot of stock in them, but they're fun to at least look at. How about this? Let's tackle the scavenger hunt in pairs and decide tomorrow what those teams will be. Why not now? Well, I was hoping we'd all be present. After all, we might need all the help we get in the search, even if that means keeping Tyson in the loop. Even after earlier? Sure, that's a wise idea? Wait, but there's 7 people total, right? You have 6 friends and Dave, so 7. So you can't really go into pairs unless Benson is also going to compete. Then I guess we can get him in there. We get nothing if only find 11 out of the set. As much as I don't like Tyson, we're kind of stuck. Sheesh, when you put it that way, I guess that makes sense. Are we picking teams out of a hat, or? Bigger problem, if we do pairs, we'll have an uneven team. What, really? I counted those at the table, plus Tyson realizing what he meant. Oh, yeah. What about groups of 3? Could work. A team with 3 might be more of a bother than actual help, though. At least that way, at least no one gets left out. Assuming everyone wants to take part, but even then, team that finds the most medals wins, right? I thought the whole point to find all of them was that we get nothing without a complete set. Oh, right, you've got me there. Then a party for the winners for contributing for us getting the full set. Failing that, we get just a consolation. Failing that, we can just get an ice cream party or something. Okay. I'm fine with that. Not going to turn down free food either. I thought this entire trip had free food. I'm with you on that one. We finished off lunch and split up to do our own thing. As for me, I figured I'd get a nap in. This man takes so many naps. Like, I don't get it. Maybe it's because I have an inability to take naps. Like, I don't know. I feel like once I'm awake, and like nothing's gonna stop me. So, I collapse on my bed, trying to get comfortable, but my mind wanders. I was curious about the door downstairs, what was behind it, and if it was worth finding a bunch of medals for. Sitting up, I pulled out my journal and wrote down what had happened so far, despite only having been here for a couple days. I had a lot on my mind. And despite me writing down everything that was immediately on my mind, the temptation to go downstairs was still alive. Huh. Well, we gotta go. The temptation is there. We're gonna get Dave killed. Let's go. Taking another look at my journal, I put it back in my bag before leaving my room. I wandered downstairs, looking to see if anyone was around, but it seemed like everyone was still out doing their own thing. I could hear someone else down here, likely Tyson in the gym, but I was intent on heading to the door that had gotten me so curious. Alright, let's see. I don't... Hmm. Hmm. Thinking. Interesting. Yeah, maybe I'll type in metal. Let's... Okay. Well, I'm trying. Seems like it didn't like what I inputted. No I'm wondering if I'm supposed to get this wrong or not. Right? Like, like what could it be? Am I even spelling that right? Ah. Hmm. Okay. I guess I'll just give up for now. With no other ideas, I head back to my room. Once I've settled in my room, I must have fallen asleep at some point. The bed was comfier than I'd give it credit for. The only reason I woke up was because I heard a knock at my door. I looked at my phone to check the time. It was too early for dinner, but maybe something had happened. Come in? Roswell opened up the door and wandered inside, hand rummaging around in a bag of jelly beans before shoving a handful in his mouth. Hi, Dave. What are you up to? Was asleep. Not that I meant to. What about you? Snack time? Oh, nothing. Just checking in. Want some jelly beans? I shook my head, rolling over so I was sitting on the side of the bed with Roswell coming closer to join me. He put the jelly beans away, bumping me gently on the arm. So, any idea on who you want to partner up for the scavenger hunt? I'm honestly happy with whoever is a partner. I just think this will give us a good chance to learn about each other. I think I'm kind of in the same boat. We're all friends, but I guess it's different when you're living with someone, right? Well, I guess this is a close analog for that, sure. Plus, who knows? Maybe doing so will let some romance blossom. I chuckled, shaking my head at him. I thought it was bad enough that Orlando was playing wingman, but who knows what Roswell and Orlando had been discussing at this point. That was why you wanted us to pair up? Not really, but it could happen. A lot could happen in a month, after all. Well, that's true. What about you? Who are you going to partner up with? I mean, it becomes less of a game if you don't rightly get along with who you're partnered up with. Beyond that, I don't think I mind. I frowned, immediately feeling as though he was taking a jab at Tyson. But there wasn't anyone that could partner up with Tyson if everyone felt the same as Roswell, except for me, that is. I get the feeling that say Dean and Haas might not get along as much as they seem fairly laid back. Or even like Sal and Haas, given one likes water and the other, well, now it just sounds like we're like you're being racist, but maybe you're right. Oh, I didn't mean it to come across that way, really. I just know that Haas doesn't really like pools because of the chlorine. I guess that makes sense. I'm sure it'll work out, right? We're all reasonable people deep down, I'm sure. Are you, though? My mind wanders over to my interaction with Benson for some reason. Maybe Roswell would know more about him to make him seem less creepy. Oh, yeah. I was meaning to ask about Benson. Does he seem odd to you? Odd how? I mean, like, he's kind of creepy when you're in the same room as him. Or maybe it was just tiredness getting to me. Probably the tiredness. I hadn't noticed anything odd. If I do, I'll let you know, though. I nodded slowly, trying to convince myself that it was all in my head. Normally, when I do, though, I kind of wish I could save the game when I woke up, and just in case, like in video games. It's a little childish, I know. I put it down to hanging around with Orlando a little too much. But hey, that reassurance would be nice if I could get to do the day over if I was screwing up. We both laughed it off, me shaking my head as, Interesting. Well, I should continue on checking on with the others until dinner. Probably should tell Tyson about the scavenger hunt too, or ask Sal if he could do it. Nah, don't worry, I'll fill him in at dinner. It'll be easier that way. Alright, I'll leave it to you then. See you at dinner. With a spring in his step, Roswell left, closing the door behind him. Saving the game, huh? The rest of the afternoon was uneventful. You know, I'm gonna save the game. You talking about that shit? Still no path. Still, I'm wondering what these blocks are for. How often does that have? The rest of the afternoon was uneventful, and I spent most of my contemplating what Roswell had said. How often does he have bad enough feelings to have to do over? Okay. When the dinner bell rang, and we all made our way to the... I wonder if I should, like, write that down. I mean, it's in quotes, right? Can I do spaces in the passwords? I'm curious. Interesting. Yeah. A scavenger hunt, huh? Given what happened at lunch, Tyson was sitting by himself at one end of the table while everyone else huddled around at the other end. It was almost like seating arrangements at high school cafeteria. Tell you what, I'll think on it. Not normally my thing, but I can sleep on it, yeah? Yeah, teams are being decided tomorrow. All right, we'll see how it goes in the morning. Thanks for filling me in. I watched as Tyson scoffed the rest of his food without leaving another word. Seemed though things were still stinging from earlier, or at least that was my guess. The rest of the meal was uneventful, the rest of us just idly chatting before heading off to bed. Whatever the reason, all of us found ourselves groggy and wanting to sleep. Man, I'm beat. I checked my phone, and it was still relatively early. I considered messaging one of the guys, or even just wandering on over to their room to see if anything. But given how tired everyone seemed, I decided against it for now. I showered and jumped into bed, finding me fairly quick. As I lay in bed, though, I wondered what tomorrow would bring. Did we have any chance of finding those medals? Would we just get bored of it eventually? Not that there was any shortage of things to do around here if we stopped looking. Okay. I guess I'm just making a save per day, but I don't have enough save slots for that. How am I? But I guess that's gonna be it for this part. So see you around, everyone.